Hello, everyone. I'm Chitong once again from Engage Rocket, and welcome to another episode of Leading People, where we dive into the best practices with professionals at the top of our field. Today, we're very privileged to have with us Ms. Sylvia Koh, the Chief People Officer at CrimsonLogic. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, Sylvia, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome, Chitong. It's a pleasure to be here with a like-minded community. Yeah, looking forward to this chat.
Very grateful. And to start us off, for those of us who are watching but may not be familiar, how would you describe CrimsonLogic's business?
Well, CrimsonLogic is basically a group of companies focusing firstly on the digital government side of the business, as well as the B2B business on trade solutions. Yeah. So we always describe ourselves as a high-tech company, and with key products in trade solutions, business licensing for governments, legal business, and providing governments of the world with platforms and solutions to be able to engage their citizens. So that's the digital government part. And then on the B2B side, we are the ones who are building this platform known as Calista, where, we use this platform to touch the world of the importers, exporters, and, to facilitate that whole end-to-end solution for the traders in the global community. Yeah.
Wonderful. And
Yeah.
maybe maybe to give some context to the other HR professionals watching, right? Like roughly how many employees do you manage at CrimsonLogic?
Globally, we have about 1,000 over employees, and they're spread, quite wide. Our headquarters is in Singapore. We basically started off as a very Singaporean company, and in the past, we were a long time ago. We were a part of NCB. That's a long time ago. And then, of course, with the focus on trade, we, divested and we came out as a company known as Singapore Network Services. And then we were rebranded as the CrimsonLogic. And globally, we have thousands of employees, and there's a new entity that we've recently acquired, and that's in China, in Dalian. Yeah.
Mm,
Other than, being present in Latin America, Middle East and Africa, our projects are also in Southeast Asia, as well as
awesome.
focus on Singapore business as well.
Mm. So very much like the whole gamut of people, uh, opportunities and challenges that you have to face. Multinational teams, new acquisition and integration of teams and so on. Wonderful.
Yes. Yep.
So through all of this, actually, I'm very curious. I've been asking a lot of HR leaders about this. But how do you view the employee experience? What does the employee experience mean to you?
Hmm. So one thing about employees are people. It's really the hardware of a company. And the engagement of each colleague is very, very important. It's really bringing employee engagement down to the individual level, and that culminates in the experience. So for me, it's really being very authentic as the leadership team to be able to extend that duty of care, to the employees, so that our colleague will have a very positive experience of the company. So be it health, safety, security, the career progression and development, um, helping our colleagues to be even employable, because we are looking at not just, being, having a career within CrimsonLogic, but helping our colleagues to be employable in the market. So it's not just for the company, but for the industry. And it also, would need us as leaders to be able to listen intentionally and working alongside and helping our colleagues to succeed. So to me, that is employee experience. Yeah.
Well, that's a very noble thing to say. Actually, I mean, I'm picking up particularly on the employable part, right? Where I think that most employers are very keen on keeping the best talent for themselves, right?
Mhm.
And then I think the mission that you seem to have behind that statement is that this is for the good of the industry, for the good of the country. what underlies that? Like, what is it that drives that particular philosophy for you?
Well, basically, we are Singaporean company, so our the agenda of Singapore Inc. is very top of the mind for us, and we work closely with GovTech, IMDA, and to build the talents for the future. So we did start up with a program called the Global Technology Associates Program about 6 years ago, where we bring in the fresh young talents from the varsities in Singapore, equip them, and of course, giving them a career, firstly in CrimsonLogic, and of course, as they go, we also do wish them the best, and with hopes that they will not drop off from the tech industry, that they will continue. So, so we do hold that very dear to us because we are a Singaporean company and we want to do that. And not only in Singapore, where we operate, where we do our projects, where we have entities in different parts of the world, we do our best also to work with the local universities at those sites to also bring in and groom, the young talents in those countries that we operate in. So it extends beyond Singapore.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's great because what I love about that, right, is that the traditional view of the employee experience is, from onboarding to offboarding, and then I mean essentially basically telling people that before I don't care, after I don't care, lah, right? But I think uh what you've just articulated is extends to a very broad view of the employee experience, which I really love. I think that's a really good way of taking a look at it. And if we take that broader view of the employee experience, in your mind, what has changed about the experience for your people, and for people in the industry, not just in Singapore but like globally as well, in the 2020 and the 2021 period?
Mm. Of course, in the past, we were able to do a lot of face-to-face. So we believe very much on engaging our people in dialogue, be it career dialogue or when we hold respective engagement or events, like we call them festivals, to bring the people together to build that social capital of our company. That we had to really rethink it, in 2020, and we will continue, to have this new way of engaging our people and rebuilding the employee experience now virtually, but it may take in a hybrid form into the future. But ultimately, that face-to-face element uh, shouldn't be compromised. I do believe that we will still need to meet up, now and then for our, events, or, having the teams to come together. Be it small groups, it's still better than not meeting up at all. But in terms of the enriching the experience of the colleague in CrimsonLogic in the last year, we had to really rapidly, go about to transform our offerings, even onboarding, interviews. We start with interviews. It's done all virtually, and I'm sure many companies do that as well. We conduct all the interviews online. We do our tests, technical tests online. It was a new experience for onboarding. We ensure that we send the new laptops to the new colleague's house, via courier, give them a call, set them up, and familiarization was online, and new employee orientation, which we have gammatized in the past, had to be rehashed, so that we can continually engage them in a virtual but gamatized form, to get the attention. So OL&D, learning and development opportunities, have all been transformed as well. We have to reshape our leadership development programs and really learn how to use technology, be it Teams, be it Zoom, just just learning all over again. Yes.
It's very heartening for many of us to hear that, because I think everybody that is going through the changes must be wondering, am I the only one that's struggling with this technology? Am I the only one trying to figure out? And it's really heartening to hear that even those at the top of our fields are facing similar challenges. Do you
Yeah.
find though that by building and exercising these new collaboration muscles, these new digital skills, that for a global company, for even dispersed teams, you're able to actually pull people together better than before? Is that something that you've experienced?
Very much so. So while we were concerned about how do we engage the people, but because of the virtual platforms, we were able to pull the world together, all our global colleagues. So when we actually began a series of training called the Resilience Workshops, and when we first took it up, during the COVID period, we were not sure how our people will receive it and how the participation would look like. But really, it was massive. It was like oversubscribed because people were working from home and they really wanted a way to connect with their colleagues globally as well. So we really had, our colleagues coming in from Middle East and Africa and India and Malaysia joining in because of the time zone difference, like when we hold the afternoon sessions, many of our colleagues were able to sign up, come in and be in group uh, group training. So we had split groups, discussion groups, and despite it all, really it helped us to um, bond with one another, more effectively. So in the past, uh, we had to wait for that window of time in June when we bring our leaders and our key colleagues from different parts of the world to Singapore for an annual staff conference. And in that week, we will kind of like cram all our engagement activities and learning activities. But because of the use of technology and, during this time, it was an opportunity for us, to engage everyone globally. And we don't have to wait till June, really. Yeah, to do so, face to face.
It must still have been quite a large effort, right, to put all of that together.
Yes, yes. We had some hits and misses. Yeah. I think like putting people into discussion rooms, using Teams, the live version of it, all that needed quite a bit of preparation and retraining.
And did you find that people were quite open about sharing their own personal vulnerabilities, their own personal challenges? I find that really helps with the resilience, building resilience within the organization, right?
Oh, yes, I think so. And so the resilience workshops really help because we gave some tips on how to work from home as well. And then we have a special session just for the leaders. And during this point in time, we also brought in another workshop, which is called the OZ principle. In the past, we used to do that face to face. The OZ principle is about being accountable, and together with our provider, they've curated it such that it's lit in the principles of how do we then be accountable when we are virtual. So that was very well received as well. Yeah. And during this time, besides training we have not shortchanged ourselves on engagement initiatives. We continue to do our festivals online. So, we have a festival of innovation where we brought our people in, to share the concepts of innovation. They brainstorm on new ideas, and that is continually leading us into this year where we continue with the innovation journeys of reaching out to our new entity in China as well, and also the team in India and in Malaysia and also in Panama. So it didn't stop us in that sense. Yeah, as long as we put our hearts to it, right? And our people are ready and willing, to come on board with us. It was really walking alongside our people and they alongside with the leadership team.
That's great. I'm sure that people must have felt that. And I mean, underlying all of this, right, just kind of switching gears a little bit. Last year, you also ran a nationally benchmarked survey to understand
Yes.
key pain points and to take action on them and also to track, I guess, the effectiveness of some of these measures. Would you be able to share some of the key things that were done from that program and maybe how did they help or how are they helping today?
survey helped us tremendously because, from the results of the survey, we implemented many new initiatives for the company. As I was talking about resilience workshops earlier, that came about after the survey. So we designed a workshop, we built it up, based on some of the inputs that were given to us, and that was globally taken. And we also were driving the message of one Crimson, even though we may be very dispersed, working in our own homes, but we are all connected and we are in this resilience journey together. And the other thing that we have done well post survey was continuing to build the social capital, because we have found, through the feedback, that people yearn to be with people. I mean, they are happy working from home and they like it, to have a bit of that space. But people still yearn to be with others, and we continue to build on top of it and to roll out, a couple of initiatives. So we every month we had something to bring the people together. One was the month where we focus on choosing our attitude. How do we choose our attitude, to really adopt the change ahead? Yeah, and building resilience. The second was, the second month after the survey, we did one little festival. It's called Be There Festival, where we encourage our colleagues to really be alongside another colleague, although we may not be there virtually, or although we may not be there physically. So for that, we used our fund. We have this fund which is called Cheers, So in every quarter, every colleague is given a sum of money and it's used, to go for team events together. So now, we can't really dine together or, go bowling together, right? With limited groups. So we did virtual cheers, right?
Oh,
Karaoke online.
oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, yes. The groups, and they had games and parties, ordering food into the respective homes where we could eat together, although we are not together. And then another month we did a festival called Make Someone's Day, which is recognizing, the goodness of another colleague and how they have helped you. And we use a little app called Rewards to give rewards points to one another. Yeah, to recognize the contribution. And of course, for innovation, is that of, we have also a festival of innovation, which I've described earlier. Yeah. So yeah, it's
Wonderful.
ongoing, and it was also as a result of the survey results. So we were very clear on what we needed to do. Yes,
Yeah.
we look at our counseling service. We have a counseling service for our colleagues, but we extended it to our family members of the colleagues as well, and to take that on globally.
Okay.
So
We're
those things were
very,
done.
very proud that Engage Rocket could have helped, I guess, facilitate some of that with the survey. Um, did you see anything coming up on things like mental health? I mean, it's quite close to the resilience workshop. Did you find that there was anything that emerged from the engagements around supporting your staff and people with their mental health?
I think that's why we said that, we have actually embarked on re-looking at a counseling service to help our people, because it was very different pre-COVID. Mostly it's work stress and sometimes it's family stress. But during the COVID period, and even now, right, you have everyone in the household coming together, and the stress can be quite extensive. And that's where we said that we needed to explore deeper offerings for our people, and not only to help our colleague, but to extend it to support their spouse and even their older children. Yeah. And we also did consider, as in most companies, an allowance, to help our people to defray the cost of setting up a home office. Although we didn't do that extensively in that sense, but we did give a little present, a year-end present, a year-end gift to our colleagues, just, to defray, the cost of a setup of their own home office and to buy some new gadgets. Yeah. So
But
yes, indeed, we recognize the point that mental health has taken a toll during this time. Mm.
yeah, I love the fact that you also extended it, again, having a very broad uh, vision for the employee experience. That you guys extended it to the families, spouses, and so on in terms of the outreach and the
Mm.
support. So I think that that's very heartening. Last question from me. What do you see as the key priorities for HR or the people function in the next 3 to 5 years, especially in light of the changes that we've been experiencing recently?
There's one thing for sure. In the past, we didn't work too much from the home. So definitely there'll be that hybrid model as most companies. And I think that's a given. So all of us are really looking at that. But basically, we are also looking at the company as a whole and where our business priorities are and how we, as a business, need to reach out and touch the clients. And are there tweaks or changes that we need to instill in our business model? So therefore, the HR priorities will be hinged on the business priorities as well. And really, our focus continues to be enabling our colleagues to adopt some new skills. Yeah. And new skills, not just in the hard skills, but also the soft skills. And how to extend EQ, how do we take care of one another, especially for leaders, the duty of care for leaders in managing teams that now are virtual. So you might have a team that is in office today and another subgroup which is out of the office. And how do you bond that team together and coming up with some, support systems to help our leaders. So that is one focus that we'll be, definitely, zooming in on. And for technical know-how, as you know, we are a high-tech company. So the continuing embedding and the development of skills, tech skills is key. So we will focus much more partnering our CTO in identifying the key competencies that we continue to build for the business as we front the market a little differently in the months ahead. So, investing in microlearning, AI, blockchain technologies, and of course, working very closely with all our tech leaders. Yeah. And the third, which is very, very key, is innovation. So it can be a small idea. So we are encouraging our people to just be very spontaneous in terms of giving their ideas and recommendations across to us, not just technical ones, but not just technical innovations, but innovative ways in which we can continually grow our people, groom our people, grow their careers, and how to extend care. So we want to really journey with our people and embrace the colleagues globally along on our innovation journeys. And with it also to look at sustainability, yeah, as
Okay.
one of the main thrusts going forward. And how do we use innovative ideas, to build on, really sustaining a, a better world. Yeah.
I love that. I think those three items, you're building, like getting ready for hybrid work, enabling new skills, and being able to drive innovation. And underlying all of this, I hear a very strong undertone of care, like extending a lot of care to everyone and their families that touch CrimsonLogic. Um, Thank you so much for sharing that. And that's all the time we have for today. So for
Yes.
those watching, I hope you have learned as much as I have from this conversation. Thank you so much, Sylvia.
Thank you, Chito. Thanks for this opportunity too. Really appreciate it.
Likewise. And everyone, I've been your host, Chitong. If you have found this helpful, do follow us on LinkedIn and sign up to receive more resources like this at our website, www.engagerocket.co. Look forward to seeing all of you again soon.